Can you feel it? That unsettling shiver down your spine. The one that tells you a seismic shift almost occurred, a foundational tremor that could have reshaped the very landscape of your favorite team? Imagine for a moment waking up to news that the cornerstone of your franchise, the player you've celebrated, agonized over, and pinned your hopes upon, was just moments away from being traded, not for a collection of spare parts, but for another young, dynamic talent, a move that would have sent shockwaves through the entire league. This isn't a hypothetical exercise in fan fiction. This is the chilling, exhilarating reality of what almost transpired this summer, a blockbuster deal so significant, it could have redefined the trajectories of two proud franchises. The hockey world thrives on speculation, on the relentless churn of rumors and insider whispers. But sometimes, those whispers coalesce into a roar, revealing a truth far more dramatic than any fan could have concocted. That's precisely what happened recently when insider David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period dropped an absolute bombshell during a July 8th appearance on the Simply Spiked podcast. He revealed that the Buffalo Sabres and the Vancouver Canucks, two teams with distinct ambitions and fan bases desperate for success, had engaged in serious discussions about a potential trade that would have seen the Canucks superstar center Elias Pettersson heading to upstate New York. In return, the Canucks' asking price, the foundational piece they sought to anchor the deal, began with the Sabres' highly touted young defenseman Bowen Byram. This wasn't just idle chatter. This was a high-stakes poker game played behind closed doors with the future of two franchises hanging in the balance. Pagnotta's revelation pulled back the curtain on the intense, often secretive machinations of NHL general managers. He stated, with the careful caveat of an insider navigating sensitive information, "I don't know this definitively, trying to read the tea leaves between the lines and all that stuff." It sounded like Buffalo re-engaged to say, "Hey, what would P.D. Pettersson cost? Has the price changed?" And that's kind of where that name, Byram's name, re-entered the mix. But it obviously didn't get anywhere. The very fact that these conversations progressed to the point where specific high-profile names like Pettersson and Byram were central to the proposed swap speaks volumes about the ambition and desperation brewing within both organizations. For the Vancouver Canucks, the idea of moving Elias Pettersson, a bona fide superstar, a silky smooth skater with a lethal shot and elite playmaking vision, is almost unfathomable to their loyal fan base. He is the offensive engine, the creative force, the player around whom their entire future has been built. Yet, the very fact that his name was on the table suggests a willingness, perhaps a reluctant one, to consider a dramatic retooling. The Canucks, for their part, have long coveted a top-tier defenseman, and Bowen Byram, a dynamic, two-way blue liner with immense potential, represents a significant upgrade to their defensive core. Byram's name has, in fact, been circulating in trade rumors for quite some time, with various teams reportedly eyeing the 24-year-old. This potential deal wasn't just about swapping stars. It was about addressing fundamental roster needs, a strategic chess match played at the highest level. However, as with all tantalizing trade rumors, there are always obstacles, often insurmountable ones, that prevent these dream scenarios from becoming reality. In this particular case, the timing proved to be a cruel mistress. Elias Pettersson's full no-trade clause officially kicked in on July 1st. This crucial contractual detail means that the Vancouver Canucks, regardless of how enticing the offer, cannot move their Swedish sensation without his explicit approval. And here lies the immediate, glaring roadblock. Would Pettersson, a player committed to winning and competing at the highest level, be willing to waive his no-trade clause to head to Buffalo? While it's impossible to truly read the mind of an NHL superstar, the likelihood of Pettersson approving a deal to a rebuilding Sabres team, one that has struggled for sustained success in recent memory, would be slim. There isn't a clear, compelling reason for Pettersson at this stage of his career to uproot his life and join a team still finding its footing. Conversely, the situation for Bowen Byram was far more straightforward. A native of the Vancouver area, a trade to the Canucks would have been a homecoming, a dream scenario for the young defenseman. It's safe to assume that Byram would have been more than willing to head over to the West Coast if such a deal had materialized. This contrast highlights the inherent complexities of NHL trades. It's not just about player value and roster fit, but also about personal preferences, contractual clauses, and the delicate balance of a player's career trajectory. But the plot thickened even further, adding another layer of complexity and ultimately closure to these particular trade discussions. Just days after Pagnotta's revelation, Bowen Byram and the Buffalo Sabres agreed to terms on a new contract. The young blue liner signed a 2-year, $12.5 million bridge deal, effectively avoiding an arbitration hearing later this summer. This new contract, while a win for both Byram and the Sabres in the short term, fundamentally alters his trade landscape. For Byram, this bridge deal offers 2 more crucial seasons to prove himself as a legitimate top-pairing defenseman, a foundational piece capable of logging heavy minutes and impacting the game at both ends of the ice. If he can consistently demonstrate that elite potential, he will be in a prime position to command a massive payday when he hits unrestricted free agency. It's a bet on himself, a calculated risk that could yield immense financial rewards. For the Buffalo Sabres, Byram's new contract is a double-edged sword, a strategic maneuver that kicks the can down the road. They secure a talented young defenseman for 2 more years at a manageable cap hit, buying themselves time. This allows them to assess his growth and development, hoping he blossoms into the true top-pairing blue liner they envision. If he does, and if the salary cap ceiling continues its upward trajectory, they might be able to re-sign him for a big payday without crippling their financial flexibility. However, if Byram truly explodes into a star and the Sabres find themselves unable to re-sign him, the return on a trade for Byram in 2 years could be absolutely massive. They would be trading a proven, elite defenseman, a far more valuable asset than a promising prospect. So, for now, the immediate possibility of a Pettersson-Byram blockbuster has evaporated. Byram is unlikely to be on the move to the Canucks or any other team in the foreseeable future. The ink is barely dry on his new contract, and both player and team are focused on his development and their collective goals. However, in the unpredictable, ever-shifting landscape of the National Hockey League, unlikely now rarely means never. Canucks fans, in particular, should keep a very close eye on Bowen Byram. The seeds of a potential future trade have been sown. There's always a chance, a tantalizing possibility, that these trade talks, perhaps in a slightly different form, could resurface in about 1.5 years as Byram approaches the final year of his newly signed deal. What this near miss truly underscores is the relentless high-stakes drama that unfolds behind the scenes in professional sports. For every trade that happens, there are dozens, perhaps hundreds, that never see the light of day. Deals that could have fundamentally altered the course of franchises and the careers of star players. The Pettersson-Byram discussions serve as a powerful reminder that in the NHL, nothing is ever truly settled, and the pursuit of that elusive Stanley Cup is a constant, often ruthless, game of chess. So, Fabian, what's your take on this bombshell revelation? Were you secretly hoping to see Pettersson in a Sabres jersey, or are you relieved he's staying put in Vancouver? And what about Bowen Byram? Do you think he'll ultimately be the piece that helps the Sabres contend, or will he eventually be traded for a king's ransom? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If this deep dive into the hidden world of NHL trade talks got your heart racing, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exclusive insights and breaking news from across the hockey universe. We're here to keep you informed, engaged, and always on the edge of your seat.